Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome to our Thursday Facebook Live. I am flying in here. It has been a bit of a crazy week, and I've had a lot of my clients being like, Alyssa, there's something in the air this week, and everyone is praying for the weekend. So we are jumping in here tonight with a fun topic. I'm excited about it because the thing that I find is so common when you've got such a angry gut is you start to get into this cycle of being scared of food and scared to eat, scared to go out, do social activities where food is involved because you're not sure what foods are going to make your gut worse. Am I right? And so what commonly ends up happening is you're experiencing, you'll eat and then bloat. So you're like, must be the food. I better eliminate it. And so you start just eliminating one or two things thinking that's the problem. And then when that doesn't fix your gut, you keep eliminating more. And eventually you end up on potentially a restrictive diet like the low FODMAP diet or GAPS diet, specific carbohydrate diet, AIP diet. Like there's more than enough of them out there, but your gut's still not improving. Or you eventually run out of foods to eat because we're not really fixing the root. So that's a whole other talk, which we'll be getting to in a couple of weeks. But what I wanted to talk to you tonight about is that there's a lot of foods that you really can in fact eat. And the frustrating part is when you feel like you have nothing to eat and it always feels like, you can't enjoy food, and it kind of ends up being like this snowball effect of all the things you can't have. And so I just want to help shift that dialogue tonight, help to shift your focus into the things that you most definitely can have. And the cool part about them is that they will help you heal your gut, and you probably aren't eating these things that I'm going to chat about tonight. So I'm pretty pumped about it because I think one of the quickest ways that we can start to mindset-wise start to feel better is to stop focusing on all the shitty stuff and start focusing on all the good stuff. Stop focusing on all the symptoms that still remain and start focusing on what is improving. Stop focusing on all the things you can't have, and let's start talking about all of the foods you can have. Stop talking about the things you can't have. There we go. And let's talk about the things that you can have tonight. So I'm going to be talking about 5 specific foods that are healing for your gut that, again, you likely don't have in your world. And some of them you may have not even heard of. Some of them, I know you've heard of them, but let's be honest, you're not eating them. So let's dive right in. So the number one food, and in no specific order here, it's not like this is the best gut healing food, it's just this is the first one we're starting with. I know you've heard of it. I'm pretty damn sure you've heard of it. It's bone broth. Bone broth. It's fantastic for your gut. It's something you can most definitely have. And if you are in a flare, like if you are having violent diarrhea, if you're having accidents, if you have planned your route around town of where the closest toilets are, if you are living on Imodium to be able to function in the day, or if you haven't pooped in quite some time, if you are not pooping 2 to 3 times a day, if you have pain, strain, mucus, blood in your stool, if you feel so bloated because you've got so much poop happening in your colon, if any of this is happening, then we need to talk about bone broth. So, bone broth, you guys have all heard of it, but so many people aren't incorporating it into their day. Some of the, let's call it what it is, excuses that are coming up are, it's hard to make, it's expensive to buy, I don't have time, I just don't have the energy. And I totally get it. I get it. I know, it sucks. It sucks not having the energy. It sucks feeling really shitty. And yes, it's expensive to buy it. And yes, if you're going to make it, it takes a little bit of energy and time. But it is so, so worth it. It's worth it. And I can't encourage you guys to add it in enough. So the cool thing again is, as I said, if you're in a flare, then you want to definitely get the bone broth happening, because usually what tends to happen is you start to lose your appetite. You might even be feeling nausea. And so the last thing that you really want to be doing is cooking or eating, quite frankly. And so things like bone broth are going to be so important because they're really high in easy to digest vitamins and minerals. And so it's kind of like having a straight energy shot right to the vein, a straight shot of vitamins right to the vein. So that's why I love to recommend bone broth, especially when your gut is angry and you just feel like you can't keep anything down or in. Bone broth is where you need to start. So super high in nutrients, but it's also going to help to reduce the inflammation. Now, bone broth is there's a mistake that a lot of people are making. Bone broth is very, very different than like chicken broth or beef broth. Bone broth specifically is made from the bones. And there's a reason why bone broth is so special. It's because it's made from the parts of the animal that you don't want to eat, like the beaks and the claws and the marrow and the cartilage of like the joints and everything of the animal. It's parts of the animal that, again, we typically throw in the garbage. That's where all the good nutrients are really coming from, particularly gelatin. Now, gelatin is a really powerful gut healer. And when we talk about addressing the root imbalances in your gut, I always talk about this, guys. We don't want to get stuck managing the symptoms. Who here wants to get right to the root and fix these problems, get rid of their IBS for good? Give me a big capital Y-E yes. Give me a big yes in the comments if you want to get rid of this for good. Because if that's for you and you're ready to kick this IBS thing, then what you need to know is that we have to address the root. And one of the many contributing root factors in this angry gut situation is leaky gut, where basically small holes in the gut lining are causing food particles and toxins to start floating through the blood system. That's problematic. That's a big root of where inflammation is coming from in the body. So if you're feeling stiff and sore and inflamed, that's why. We got to talk about leaky gut. So gelatin is really powerful source of protein in particular to help repair that muscle, aka your gut lining. Your gut lining is actually a muscle, guys. So we want that good nutrients that isn't found in chicken broth, beef broth, vegetable broth, whatever. It has to be bone broth. Now, the easiest way to take care of this is, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. Volunteer to take the turkey carcass home, all right? It can be very, very simple. It can be done in a big pot or in a crock pot, but fill that bad boy up with water, throw that carcass in there, put whatever you want in there, but ginger would be great for your gut. You can do onions, celery, carrots, more for flavor than anything, and a touch of apple cider vinegar, super important. That apple cider vinegar is actually what's going to help to draw out those good vitamins and minerals and gelatin so that you're getting that in the bone broth. Let that simmer for a good 24 hours, strain it, and boom, you're done. That's it. It can be as simple as that. Now, this is something that you can enjoy daily. You can have a cup of it daily, or instead of making your soups with just a plain chicken broth or, again, beef broth, vegetable broth, let's boost that baby up with some bone broth, right? Let's make it even more gut healing with some bone broth. So, number one thing, bone broth. Now, the second one, this one is an interesting one. Many people are spraying their lawns to prevent these little things from growing there. And I like to go out and pick them, not on people's front lawns. I like to go out into the forest where no dogs have peed on them and pick them myself. And the answer is dandelion leaves. So dandelion leaves are so great for your digestive system. So here's what I want you to know about dandelion leaves. So dandelion leaves help to stimulate your digestive enzymes. Again, when we're talking about root problems that are happening in your gut, it's not the food. The problem is not the food, guys. It's your gut. And it's the fact that your gut is struggling to break down foods. So we want to start adding things in there that are going to help stimulate the digestion, to help stimulate the production of your digestive enzymes so that now you will better break down your foods. So dandelion greens, or leaves in particular, are really, really important to add in because they are a bitter. We call them digestive bitters that help to stimulate that enzyme production. Now they also help to clean out the liver, which is awesome because typically when we've got gut issues going on, the liver tends to be bogged down because we're not effectively eliminating toxins. Even for you folks that have diarrhea, you're not effectively forming a stool, bulking a stool to eliminate it. And you all who aren't pooping with constipation, well, nothing's leaving. So all of those toxins get reabsorbed back into the system and sent back to the liver to be filtered out. And eventually your liver's like, I'm bogged down, I'm tired, I can't keep up with it all. So dandelion leaves are going to be great for stimulating digestion, cleansing that liver, and your gut's going to thank you for it. Okay, let's check out some of the comments here. Yes, 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 we got lots of yeses happening. Anne saying, glad bone broth helps. Started making and using it last fall. Easy peasy in my pressure cooker. Awesome, totally. Okay, Debbie saying, do you have to pick them? There's a store near me that sells this. You don't have to pick them. You don't have to be a crazy chick like me, picking weeds from your local forest. You can absolutely if you want. Again, my suggestion is make sure that you know what you are picking and you know how to identify wild plants. That would be my number one first thing. The second thing is, again, make sure that you're picking from somewhere that has not been treated or hasn't been peed on by dogs or any other I don't know, animals on the trails. So, but you can absolutely go to health food stores, even grocery stores start to sell them very soon because it's going to be dandelion weed season very soon. So don't hate those dandelions. They are loving your kidney and your liver and your digestive system. All right, let's talk about the third thing. Oh, Kate has a great question. How are we eating them? B, yes. Okay. One of the ways that I just like to easily eat them is chop them up and either add it to a salad or steam them up or put them in a stir fry. Now, again, when we're talking about gut health, raw vegetables aren't ideal. If you've gotten to a place in your digestive health where you can tolerate raw vegetables, then you could add it into a salad, but steaming or adding into like a stir fry or cooked up in a pan on a stovetop with some other vegetables would be a great place to start. Okay, number 3. Again, I know you've heard of it, but I don't think you're using it because it's one of those things like, I can't be bothered. Is it really making a big difference? That's turmeric. So turmeric, guys, again, I know you've heard of it and you may have even heard of golden milk, but are you drinking it daily? Are you using it daily? If the answer is no, then that's why we're talking about this. You definitely need to add turmeric into your world. Here's something that is really important when we're talking about turmeric, especially for helping with the gut and the body in general. It's going to be really important that you pair this with a healthy fat as well as black pepper. So what that does is it helps to activate the active ingredient, curcumin, in the turmeric that helps to reduce the inflammation and have all of that good healing benefits that turmeric has to offer. So again, make sure you're pairing it with a healthy fat such as coconut oil or even avocado and black pepper, just a pinch. So one of my favorite ways to get turmeric in is with a golden milk. You can use coconut milk or almond milk, mixing in some turmeric, again your coconut oil and a little bit of black pepper. You can get super fancy and add in things like cinnamon as well. If you guys want a recipe for a golden milk, then I want you to drop in the comments, recipe please, and I will definitely post that in the thread for you guys. I'll post my favorite golden milk recipe. Now, some other ways that you can easily add turmeric in is anytime you're cooking any sort of vegetable. I like to roast up sweet potato pucks. So I'll slice them, sprinkle the turmeric on there, with some olive oil, black pepper, and you can get real fancy pants if you want with a bit of cumin, but turmeric on sweet potato pucks. Definitely delicious. You can also make like a curry flavored dish. You can just sprinkle it on any sort of vegetable, to be honest with you. Or if you want to take it like a real champ, you can stick it in your smoothie. And that's also a great way to add in turmeric. All right, I'm seeing lots of recipe please happening in the comments. I will definitely drop that in the comments. Hopefully tonight, guys. Worst case scenario, first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, Kate is saying just dry store-bought? Yeah, you can do, like, I would suggest buying a good quality organic dry store-bought. But you can also find the fresh root in some health food stores. I've even seen it in some grocery stores lately. And if you're going to buy the fresh root, then you can make a nice turmeric tea. And so what I like to do with that is I'll peel it and then slice about an inch of it, and you'll simmer that in some water. And then again, same thing, you'll add in a bit of coconut oil and a touch of black pepper, and that will help to really activate that turmeric tea. You can also put some ginger in there to get a really nice balance of flavor of ginger and turmeric. Super delicious. So great for you. So let's talk about some of the healing benefits of turmeric. Well, everyone knows it for reducing inflammation, but most people don't realize that turmeric helps with gut permeability. Just a fancy term for saying it helps to repair leaky gut. That same thing we were talking about with bone broth, it helps to patch and repair those small holes in the gut lining that are really wreaking havoc and creating inflammation in the body. So turmeric is like a double, bam, bam, double whammy in helping to fix your gut. Awesome, right? Again, so easy to add in, but it's also one of those easy things to be like, meh, I'm not gonna add it in today, or like, meh, I forgot. It's not really doing much. Consistency is key, guys. You got to get the cumulative effect happening here. Keep adding these things in consistently. Okay, Anne saying, I've been using turmeric every day to ease arthritis pain. Helps me a lot. Amazing, Anne. Let me know if you're adding the healthy fat with it and black pepper as well. So good. Oh, and I have the most delicious turmeric lemonade recipe. I know you guys are gonna love it. We're going into summer and there's all the social events happening and there's alcohol and you know it's hurting your gut, or there's all sorts of different things happening in terms of social gatherings and food and drink, and you're needing some ideas, right? So if you want the lemonade, turmeric lemonade, let me know in the comments with a heck yes. Drop the heck yes in those comments there if you want that turmeric lemonade, and I will get that to you as well. Amazing. So let's talk about number 4. So the fourth thing that I want to talk about, you may or may not have heard of. You may have heard of it and thought, what the heck is that? Or that shit smells disgusting. And it's miso paste. So miso paste is my favorite thing to add to any soup. If you think that you've got like soup licked, like you've got soup down to an art and you are quite sure you make the most delicious soup, I dare you to add in miso paste and it will just explode your taste buds. You're gonna love it, but don't smell it because it literally smells like shit. Not quite. That's not a good comparison. It smells terrible, but not like shit. So don't smell the miso paste, but add the miso paste into your world. What the heck is miso paste? Well, miso paste is fermented paste. It can be made from anything from soy to chickpea to brown rice. I'll just encourage you to pick one that doesn't irritate. So like if you have a sensitivity to soy, don't pick the soy miso. Pick the chickpea miso. So My favorite way to add in miso paste, again, is in soup. Here's what's really important about miso though. Miso, because it's fermented, has this beautiful profile of good bacteria. And so what's really going to be important is you don't want to boil the snot out of the miso paste in your soup. So what I like to do is I'll cook my soup, and then right before I'm about to serve it, I'll just add just a little bit into my pot. Now it's hard for me to say how much because it depends on how much soup you're making, but I would say for probably 2 to 3 servings of soup in like a medium-sized pot, I would probably throw about a teaspoon of that in there. So super delicious. Again, you just stir that in right at the end and enjoy. So good. There's a lot of nut cheeses that are made out there with miso paste as well. But the easiest way to add that in is into that bone broth, into that soup, and you're going to really pack a punch as far as nutrients are concerned, but also the good bacteria. So the other thing that I'll just reiterate is miso paste is really high in like variety of essential minerals as well, much like bone broth. So the last one, this one. Now I'm going to say, guys, I don't think you guys may have heard of this last one. So if you have heard of this last food, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. Say like, yep, I've heard of it, or yes, I've tried it. Let me know if you have A, ever heard of this food, and B, have ever tried it. Because I have a feeling, I don't think anyone may have even heard of this food, let alone is eating it. So the last food that I really want you to add in, like I really want you to add this one in, is Umeboshi plums. Have you heard of it? I'm gonna wait. Is there anyone in the comments? Has anyone heard or tried Umeboshi plums? It's a Japanese plum. They sometimes call it a pickled plum. And its flavor is a little bit different. It's not sweet like you would think it is because it's a plum. But so good. I actually had to make a full list of all the benefits so that I don't forget a darn one. So first thing, this is really cool. It helps to inhibit the growth of bad bacteria. All right? Again, when we talk about underlying imbalances in the gut, part of the problem is likely that there's an overgrowth of bad bacteria. So the cool part about these Umeboshi plums is they're like, heck no, I'm not gonna let you grow in here. So it's kind of like having those bouncers at the door, like the good bacteria. Phenomenal, such a good thing. They also, this is so cool, help to protect against ulcers. If anyone's had an ulcer before, you're sitting at home being like, where are the Umeboshi plums? I'm gonna eat them. Because you know how painful ulcers are. So they help to prevent ulcers and protect against ulcers, really repair those ulcers. So good. Here's another one. Let me know, has anyone ever been diagnosed with H. pylori? They help to protect against H. pylori, which is a bad little bugger of a bacteria that also wreaks terrible havoc on your gut, gives you terrible pain. And then also, I could go on also all night with these Umeboshi plums. They help to reduce inflammation. Guys, these are so good. Now, if any of you guys are sitting at home feeling super bloated, which I'm pretty sure you all are, that's why you're here, guess what? The Umeboshi plums are going to help you with that too. Now, I know you might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true, Alyssa, or you're like, I'm out. See you next week, Alyssa. I'm going to go find me Umeboshi plums. I don't need to hear another word, right? But I've got one more cool thing about Umeboshi plums that I want you to know, and that is that they're really high in fiber, but not the fiber that you need to be scared of. You see, Umeboshi plums have been shown to be beneficial for both constipation and diarrhea. So whether you've got constipation or diarrhea, I think by this point, everyone's hands have gone up, whether it's bloating or ulcers or H. pylori or inflammation, constipation, diarrhea, you're like, I'm there. Give me the Umeboshi plums. So guys, let me know. I want you guys to go hunt those babies down. You're probably only going to be able to find them in a health food store. This is not something you'll be able to find in a grocery store. If you do, let me know. Shoot me a message and let me know where you found them. But Umeboshi, I'm gonna, I am stuttering now. Umeboshi plums are where it's at. So guys, if you found this helpful, give it a like, give it a share. I've got some recipes to share with you guys. Remember, I'm going to post that golden milk recipe, and you guys also wanted the turmeric lemonade recipe, so I will be sure to post that later tonight after my group coaching call for our Love and Trust Your Guts program. I hope you guys have a phenomenal night, an amazing weekend, and we will see you next week.